Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day, and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of Rush releasing a 40th anniversary box set edition of Grace Under Pressure on March 13th, I thought I would take an opportunity to revisit the album, revisit some memories that I have of the time when this album came out. Great memories. Make some notes and think things through and try and answer the ever burning, all consuming question: Grace Under Pressure, is this prog? Now, there's a lot of information to unpack, so strap yourselves in and away we go. Grace Under Pressure is Rush's 10th release. It's a follow up release to their 1982 album Signals. Grace Under Pressure was released on April 12th, 1984, through Mercury Records in the UK and the US, and through Rush's own label, Anthem Entertainment in Canada. The music for the album was recorded from November of 1983 to March of 1984, with writing sessions beginning in Barrie, Ontario in September of 1983. Writing sessions would be halted briefly due to the fact that the band were scheduled to perform at Radio City Music Hall in New York in 1983, just like a precursor to the tour that was going to come up for Grace Under Pressure. Now, with regards to producers, they decided to go in a bit of a different direction with regards to using producers. From 1975 to 1982, for the releases of Fly By Night through Signals, they've always used producer Terry Brown. But for this album, with regards to the music that they were coming up with, they wanted to go in a bit of a different direction and try different recording techniques, um, and just see what they could come up with. And the ideas that they were coming up with musically sort of dictated that they would go into more of a keyboard oriented sound. So while they were on tour for the album Signals in '83, they met up with Terry Brown in Miami and told him as such that they were going to go with a different producer. And according to Neil Peart, rest in peace, Neil Peart, even though it was a rough parting, it was an amicable parting, sorry, nonetheless. So they started to look for other producers, and they wanted to speak with Steve Lillywhite. But he opted to eventually work with Simple Minds on their latest release. Other producers up for discussion and for consideration were Chris Squire of Yes and Trevor Horn, producer extraordinaire, who was a brief member of Yes and worked, of the Buggles, and was producer himself. Now, Geddy Lee, being an uber Chris Squire fan, thought that this was a wonderful opportunity. And both Squire and Horn caught a show that Rush had done at Wembley Arena in 1983 with the idea of discussing working together. However, due to logistics with regards to timing, etc., it didn't work out. So the band decided to hire Peter Henderson as producer, which the band would later somewhat regret due to the fact that Peter Henderson, with regards to making uh, decisions on production ideas, etc., proved to be somewhat indecisive. So they were basically left to produce the album Grace Under Pressure themselves, which they were not happy about. And also on the new 2026 reissue of Grace Under Pressure, the box set, there is a new 2026 Terry Brown uh, reworking of the album, Terry Brown's vision of what Grace Under Pressure should sound like, which is going to be really interesting to hear. Now, with regards to singles for the album, there were four singles released from Grace Under Pressure, those singles being Distant Early Warning, the lead-off track in North America, first single, wonderful. Red Sector A, The Body Electric, and After Image. After Image was released as a single in Japan only. Now, in terms of the lyrics for songs like Distant Early Warning, Red Lenses, and Between the Wheels, those lyrics were inspired by news stories that were featured in Toronto's Globe and Mail newspaper, which Neil Peart, being an avid reader, obviously he was going to come up with some ideas for these songs. Now, in terms of the lyrical content for this album, it is quite heavy. You're talking about dealing with death of a friend. You're talking about themes of uh, the computer age possibly taking over human beings, and whether or not we human beings are going to be able to survive, should computers and technology try to take over, who will win? And that was a topic that was coming up, I would imagine, quite regularly around that time. You had groups like Queen recording Machines or Back to Humans from the Works album, which basically covers that same topic. Um, but overall, this album is quite heavy in terms of the subject matter. There's also topics of the Holocaust and survivors of the Holocaust, which I'll get into. Now, the overall playing time for Grace Under Pressure is 39 minutes and 23 seconds. Perfect for an album, quite short for a CD. And the album title came from a quote from Ernest Hemingway, and that full quote is, "Courage is grace under pressure." And again, Neil Peart, being an avid reader, obviously came up with this idea. And the cover image for the original vinyl release had a picture of an egg um, in a vice grip, you which is quite interesting. Now, there are 8 tracks in total. And for me, this is a very heavy album, very guitar driven. And Alex Lifeson had said in an interview after the release of the album, or sometime after the release of the album, that their previous release, Signals, saw the guitar take a bit of a back seat. And he thought that maybe with regards to arrangements and the overall musical idea for Signals kind of got diluted or lost. Pretty much that they somewhat lost the plot. But for Grace Under Pressure, the guitars are prominent in the mix, basically wall to wall rhythm and lead guitar. There are no ballad or ballad type tunes, or okay, and there are no acoustic guitars used on the album. There are synthesizers, but at this point, the synthesizers would be used as more accents in terms of the musical arrangements, rather than a featured instrument on the song. Okay. And the songs range in time length between just under 5 minutes to just over 5 minutes. Again, 8 tracks in total, and we're going to go through the album. Now, the album starts off with the lead off single, as I said, from North America. And that track is just an early warning at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. In my notes, I have your AM/FM Platinum. Just a fantastic, really gripping track, heavy guitar, wonderful percussion, beautiful prominent bass in the mix, really up front in the mix. Um, Neil Peart does use Simmons drums, or I should say Simmons toms, for percussion elements and hits, etc., accents, but not overly so, I don't believe. Wonderful synth stabs that come in, that lead into the verses and the choruses on the track. This track is very dramatic, uh, very much textured, very layered, but again, oh, very much accessible. You know, after Distant Early Morning, we have After Image, again, the single that was released in Japan, 5 minutes and 4 seconds. Nice, fast-paced tempo, really great heavy guitar chords. A lot of guitar chord crashes that come in on these tracks. A lot of heavy crash chords that come in, just wonderful. And there is a change in tempo to almost like a reggae feel on certain sections. Really a nice percussive breakdown section on this. And this piece was dedicated to a friend of theirs, a tape operator by the name of Robbie Wheeler. I was going to say Robin, my apologies. Robbie Wheeler, who passed away a year before they started to work on the album. And, obviously it affected them to the point where they had to write about it. Um, Death is never easy. However, it occurs, and you're left. You have to deal with it, right? Track three is the wonderful, dramatic, impactful Red Sector A at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Another single from the album. Heavy guitar chords, steady rhythmic percussion that underpins the track. Really prominent guitar passages. And again, there's a use of Simmons percussion. This track, the lyrical theme of this track, the lyrical content, deals with survivors of the Holocaust and the impact it had on their lives. Very heavy, very heavy. There was a live version of this track that was recorded for a video release for the single that was recorded on tour. But it is a wonderful track. Again, very rhythmic in terms of percussion, but heavy guitar nonetheless. Just wonderfully done. Side one ends off with another single, The Enemy Within, which is part one of Fear. 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Another guitar driven piece. Uh, Fast-paced reggae rhythm on this track. And it's said that, and I noticed this when I listened to this album, they kind of diverted in terms of the musical elements that they wanted to go into. They went into more of, as with this track, more of a ska and reggae feel on the rhythm section, like just on the musical elements for this piece. Wonderfully done, wonderfully done. When it was originally released, I really didn't think much about it. I thought it was a bit of a quirky track in terms of the arrangements of the song. But going back to it over the past few days and listening to it, this is a fucking great song. It is wonderfully done. It is wonderfully done. Um, the Enemy Within deals with, I should say also, deals with uh, individuals and their self-doubts and fear of trying something new. Their inner demons that are trying to come out and suppress their ideas and suppress themselves from trying something new and trying something bold and different. Okay. And the fact that uh, that they're not, that the individual that they're singing about is not going to miss out on adventures, possible adventures that are going to happen in their lives, that they're not going to be restricted to listening to their own self-doubt and worry, that they're just going to push that away and just carry on and do whatever they want to do and live their lives, which, it's a heavy topic to sing about. That ends up side one. Side two starts off with another single, The Body Electric, at 5 minutes even. Really nice percussive intro. Great uh, bass slapping, pop. Oh, great bass pops or slapping on the track that come in. Really wonderful crashing guitar chords. Strong, again, prominent bass, and a wonderful guitar solo. Okay. And this track is the one track that talks about uh, the advancement of technology and machines and computers, and whether or not computers are really going to take over the human race, and if we as humans are going to let them, or if we're going to fight back. You know, it's a wonderful track. And again, this is another song that I really didn't pay much attention to when it first came out, but I'm really gaining another appreciation for this album. And pretty much a whole new appreciation for this album. I think it's wonderful. Up next is a track called Kid Gloves, 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Again, really another guitar-driven track, really intricate drum pattern on this piece. Great guitar solo on the breakdown section on this piece. Just wonderful. Red Lenses is next. At 4 minutes and 42 seconds, another track with crashing guitar chords on the intro. Percussive breakdown section, and there is an extended instrumental section, sorry, on the final outro of the track. Just wonderfully done. The album ends off with the track Between the Wheels at 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Wonderful synth chords that come in, heavy guitars, uh, a reggae rhythm section that comes in on the intro. There's a change in time signature between the verses and the choruses. Just wonderful synth guitars that come in on the downbeat of a certain section of the track, and the track has a wonderful guitar solo that comes in on it. Just again, Alex Lifeson's playing on this album is bloody amazing. Again, wall to wall guitar, either rhythm or lead, just a really good thick guitar tone. Now, this album has a listing of progressive rock or and new wave. Now, is this album prog? Um, Now, Geddy Lee has said in interviews that upon the release of Hemispheres in 1978, the band felt that they had enough or that they achieved what they wanted to achieve with the sidelong epic progressive tracks that they were writing, the intricate arrangements, the extended guitar solos, the extended keyboard and mellotron and bass solos. And going forward, he wanted to, or the band wanted to, redefine what prog was for them. And they started to write shorter compositions with albums like Permanent Waves, songs like Entre Nous, etc. And they basically entered the 80s with albums like, Moving Pictures, Signals, and, Grace Under Pressure. They started to go have more shorter, concise tracks in terms of their songwriting. Um, is this album prog? No, I don't think that this is a progressive rock album. I think that this is a hard rock album with elements of ska and reggae, uh, accents of it, I should say. Not overly so. There is a lot of heavy guitar on this album, a lot of great melodies on this album. Just amazing drumming, heavy subject matter with you know themes of the Holocaust and machines possibly taking over the human race, etc., and the loss of friends and family members or loved ones, etc. The subject matter is heavy, and the album is for me a full out rock album. Yes, they were releasing singles. I was going to say singles that were tailored towards radio and the record buying public. But I don't think that they lost their rock edge with this release. The keyboards are not as prominent as people would think they are. It is a heavier guitar oriented album. The keyboards are there to use as underpinning pieces or as accents for the tracks, but I don't think overall, in the classic sense of progressive rock, that this is a progressive rock album. Yes, The Enemy Within is part one of Fear, which would continue throughout their future releases. That part of it is prog, when you have parts one and two and three and four of a piece. But other than that, I honestly do not believe that this is a prog album per se. I believe it's a heavy rock album, fantastic heavy songs, melodic as all get out, again, with accents of ska and reggae. But as a progressive rock album, no, I don't think so. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please put down the comments below whether or not you believe that Grace Under Pressure is in fact a prog album. And don't forget to pick up a copy of the box set, the 40th anniversary edition of Grace Under Pressure, released again today, March 13th. If we're lucky, the CD version of the box set is going for $504 on Amazon. .ca. You can also get it on Amazon.com, .co.uk, and Discogs and eBay. Uh, the vinyl version of the box set is going for $508 Canadian on Amazon.ca. And also included in the box set is a, a live concert of the band at Maple Leaf Gardens on September 21st, 1984, for the first time. And there is a Blu-ray of the show at the Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto in its entirety for the very first time. There's an additional 37 minutes that was not included on the original VHS version of the show. So you have the complete show. You also have a coffee table book and other paraphernalia. So if you can afford it, go and enjoy it. This is a fantastic album. Again, let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Grace Under Pressure is in fact a prog album? That's it for now. Please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. And I will see you again on the Music Den. Bye for now.